Hi, and welcome to another update of OES 2015. Today we're going to take a look at what's new in the way of DFS junctions. Before we actually take a look at what's new, let's start off by taking a look at what are DFS junctions for those of you who might not know. DFS junctions allow you to create a larger file system than what you actually have by creating links from one directory to another directory, probably on a different file system. They're very much like symbolic links in Linux or shortcuts within Windows. In this image, you see the scenario I'm about to demonstrate. I have my two volumes, Data 32 and Data 64. On each volume, I have a directory called Junctions, and on Data 32, I have Directory 1, Directory 3, and Directory 5 within that Junctions directory. On Data 64, however, I have Directory 2, Directory 4, and Directory 6 within that Junctions directory. If I enter Directory 1, I will see all the files that are contained there, as well as a directory that looks like it is below it called Directory 2. When I double click to enter Directory 2, however, I'm actually redirected to the Data 64 volume and see the contents of that Directory 2 in there. Likewise, within that Directory 2, I'll see all the files that are contained there, as well as subdirectories, including one special subdirectory called Directory 3, which, when I double-click to enter that, directs me back to the Data 32 volume. This continues on in a similar manner all the way down to Data 6. Here on my workstation, I can actually show you this. As you can see, I have my Data 32 and Data 64 volumes with the subdirectories that I mentioned. I also have a drive letter that is actually mapped to the Directory 1 location. I can see the files in Directory 1 and double-click all the way down to Directory 6, just as if it was a normal file structure when in fact I'm bouncing back and forth between different volumes. Let's take a moment and go to my OES server to see what it looks like there. On my Data 32 volume, I do see the Junctions and Directory 1 location. If I browse that, however, I see something that does not look like a directory. If I go to the actual file system and do a dir or an ls in Linux terms, I'll see that it does indeed look different. This is indeed a junction to another location on my OES server. It could also go out to another location on a different server if I so desired. Now that we know what DFS junctions are and how they work, let's take a look at what's required to actually create a DFS junction. Here we are in iManager, and under the Distributed File Services section on the left-hand side, we're going to go ahead and create a junction. The first thing we want to do is pick where we want that junction to exist. So where does that pointer exist on the file system? We're going to browse down to Directory 6 and create a new directory junction and point it to Directory 7. So we call it Directory 7. And then what we do is we browse to where we want to redirect the user when they enter that pointer called Directory 7. This time, however, we're going to pick a volume that is not AD enabled. We can see the rights that exist as well as set new ones if necessary. This ensures that people's transition across this junction is seamless and without any errors. We've looked at what are junctions as well as how you can create new DFS junctions. But let's take a look at what is required to manage them, and this will bring into focus what the new features of OES 2015 really are. Here we are again in iManager. This time, however, we'll select Modify Junction. In order to modify a junction, we have to know where it exists, so we have to browse the file system. The only way that we can actually see it is through the command line, as I showed you on the OES server, or through iManager. As you saw within Windows client, as we browsed through the junctions, they just look like normal directories. As you can imagine, this can be very difficult and time-consuming to find these junctions. A lot of customers actually keep track of these junctions using a spreadsheet or a Word document so that they know where they are when it comes time to modify them. This is obviously not ideal, which is why we decided in OES 2015 we need to give our customers a better way to manage these DFS junctions. So let's take a look at what are the new capabilities that we've added in OES 2015. Again in iManager, what's new in 2015 is the Manage Junctions option. When you select this option, you have to pick the volume that you wish, and iManager will go out and scan the entire volume and return a list of all of the junctions that exist on that volume. You no longer need to keep track of all of those junctions on a spreadsheet or something separate outside of the OES system. Within iManager, you can quickly and easily access these junctions to manage them and edit them as needed. The other big thing that's new inside of OES 2015 is obviously the fact that NSS supports Active Directory natively. So let's take a quick look at what happens inside of an AD authenticated workstation as it tries to browse across these DFS junctions. From within the CIFS tab in iManager, you need to enable DFS junction support, but outside of that, as you can see here, DFS junctions are fully supported. Now there is one caveat to that, and that is the targets for the DFS junctions have to point to other AD enabled volumes when you're accessing it from an AD client. For those of you who were paying attention when I created the Directory 7 junction, I in fact pointed to a volume that was not indeed AD enabled, and hence I'm getting an error. As long as you remember to enable DFS junctions within CIFS and point to AD enabled volumes, your AD authenticated clients should have no issues traversing these DFS junctions. So one more time, thank you very much for your interest in OES 2015. Hopefully, if you use DFS junctions or are thinking of using DFS junctions, you can see that there are great things coming that will help you out a lot as you move forward with OES 2015. If you want to try these features out for yourself, please stay tuned and watch for our public beta of OES 2015 coming out shortly.